What's going on, everybody? It's another great episode of Pub Sports Radio, and tonight we're going to be talking about some Prize Picks looks that we have coming up for another UFC card, and I'm very excited about this one, guys. Last couple weeks, I've had one confident play that I was ready to bring to you guys, and then one play that I was trying to get across the board there because we need those two looks. This week, I'm coming strapped. I've got three plays to look ahead towards. So if you have never signed up with Prize Picks, it is the easiest game in all of DFS. All you got to do is pick 2 to 3, even 4 or 5 prop projections among their huge slate. And this is on MMA, MLB, NBA, NFL, all that. But tonight we're going to be talking specifically about some UFC Prize Picks that I like. So if you haven't gotten signed up already, go ahead and use that promo code PUBSPORTS and you can get signed up today and join in on the fun. So with that being said, 3 picks is what I'm bringing to you today, and I'm going to get started first with an over on fantasy score. And we're looking actually at our friend JP Buys. This is not one that I thought initially this is going to jump off the page at me. However, you look at the fact that Cody Durden has been finished in some of these losses. He's given up wrestling success to people in his losses at times, and he's also definitely been vulnerable in some of those grappling situations. I can remember Jimmy Flick submitting him in the very first round with a flying triangle. So Cody Durden makes some, questionable decisions in the wrestling and grappling at times, though he is talented. I think that JP Buys in that last fight with Montel Jackson, I bet him in that spot. He showed he can be a very dangerous back taker. He can be a talented wrestler. And despite the fact that he can get hit and hurt, that was by somebody who's really dangerous. I don't rate Cody Durden as being quite as dangerous as somebody like a Montel Jackson. So I think that JP Buys gets back on track here. I think he's got a decent chance to get it done and to get it done inside the distance. But either way, he's a wrestler. He's a grappler. He's going to bring forward that game plan that could score a lot of fantasy points, even in a decision win. So give me JP Buys over 70.5 on the fantasy total. All right. Another fantasy total that I'm bringing to you guys, Shavkat Rakhmonov. I think this guy is the truth. I think he's the real deal. And you look at Neil Magny, he has a deserved reputation for being quite durable. However, he still has 6 losses inside of the distance in his lengthy pro career. 4 of those losses have come by submission. 2 of those have come by way of knockout in the UFC. And memorable examples include the first-round knockout loss to Lorenz Larkin, the 4th-round knockout loss to Santiago Ponzinibbio. So I think that when you have somebody like Shavkat Rakhmonov, who's going to be able to match that length largely of a Neil Magny, who's going to be able to have that strength and physicality in the clinch, as well as some freshness, he's not going to be as spent a force as somebody like Neil Magny, who has a ton of experience, a ton of fights, ton of wins. However, I think that bill on all the damage, on all the wars is coming due. We've seen people smaller than him out-grapple him a number of times, whether that's RDA, that's Michael Chiesa, and to varying degrees of success. But we've seen him out-grappled and outstruck in the UFC. I think Shavkat Rakhmonov has a path to doing either one of those. And I do think that the odds suggest he's minus 115 to win this fight in the first 2 rounds. I think that Shavkat Rakhmonov, the under is another way that you could look to target this fight. However, I want to give Neil Magny the utmost respect. Potentially could survive to a 3rd round here, but I think that more often than not, it's going to be a Shavkat Rakhmonov domination in this fight. And an outright win inside the distance. So I like Shavkat Rakhmonov to go over that projected fantasy score with some takedowns, potentially with an early finish. So that's what I'm looking at for Shavkat. And then the last one that I brought in is Sergey Morozov. And I don't really have the strongest opinion on who's going to win the fight between Raulian Paiva and Sergey Morozov. Both are guys that are quite talented, but they have some flaws in their game. You look at Raulian Paiva, he's very hittable. He's absorbing about 5 strikes per minute. And so when I'm looking at somebody with a projected significant strike total of 38.5, that seems quite low to me when their opponent is so willing to be hit, like Raulian Paiva. And I think that's the reason they matched him up last time with Sugar Sean O'Malley. He has a negative 8.67 strike differential. But the difference between these two guys has been Morozov tends to have a little bit more power, but he's been getting knocked down at a much higher rate, over 4%. So if Morozov is able to stay upright here, we've only seen Raulian Paiva record one, I believe, knockout in the UFC against Mark De La Rosa, kind of a little bit of a, non UFC level win, let's say. Mark De La Rosa, I don't believe, is still employed by the organization. So when you look at what Morozov's been doing, he's been fighting a pretty high caliber of guys. And when he's gone the 15-minute distance, he's easily eclipsed this number before. So I think that if Raulian Paiva doesn't get knocked out here, I think he's going to be more than willing to absorb well over 38.5 significant strikes from Sergey Morozov. So overall, I think that JP Buys has a good chance of going over that projected fantasy total if he's able to get the win via grappling like he's going to be going out there attempting to do. I like Shavkat Rakhmonov to go over his projected fantasy total this weekend if he's able to get his game going, smash through Neil Magny, who has been finished, I believe, 4 times in the very first round, and Sergey Morozov. This is a guy that I think has room to grow, potential in the UFC. He's been fighting a tough schedule. I think they're getting him a little bit back down to earth, a more reasonable level of competition. I expect a good, competitive, hard scrap between two guys who love to fight. I think Sergey Morozov's going to clear 38.5 significant strikes. So there you have it, guys. If you decide to play along with me, I did the math on this. If you decide to power play it, if you want all those picks locked in, we need to get them all right. $20 would win you $100. $100 wins you $500. If you want to play it as a flex play. So if you're saying, Liam, like somebody mentioned in the comments, hey, I'm with you on these, but I don't know about JP Buys going over. You can go about the flex play, right? 2 out of 3. That's all we need to get paid. If we hit the full, then it would be $20, pays out $45, $100, pays out $225, and we mitigate that risk factor a little bit if we get one of these picks wrong. So, guys, either way, whether you decide to tail the picks, if you decide to fade the picks, I just hope that you guys have a great time. I hope that you really enjoyed this video and learned something from it. And if you guys have a different way of targeting the card, go ahead and let me know below, because I'm always looking to add another Prize Picks entry to my slate for the weekend if we can get a good value on the weekend of fights. So appreciate everybody for rocking with us every week. We be pubbing on the live stream. Gave out a ton of winners last week. Tried to tell you guys about my man Kevin Holland, and he came through bigly for the homie. So thank you guys so much for your support. Hope to see you guys all again next week. Until next time, we be pubbing.